She disappeared after prom night, and the truth left everyone in tears. It began like every other small-town story, the kind people whisper about for years but never fully understand. Emily Carter was the kind of girl no one ever truly noticed. Quiet, bookish, and working double shifts at the diner to help her single mom keep the lights on. She wasn't the cheerleader. She wasn't the homecoming queen. She wasn't the girl with the perfect smile who walked through the halls like she owned them. She was the girl sitting in the back of the classroom, clutching her sketchbook, invisible to most. Except, of course, when it came to the ones who enjoyed making her feel small. And no one enjoyed that more than Cassandra Hayes. Cassandra was the daughter of the richest man in town. Beautiful, ruthless, untouchable. She had a way of twisting words like a knife, making you laugh one minute and bleed the next. And she loved nothing more than to remind Emily that she didn't belong. Prom night was supposed to be Emily's chance to blend in, just for one night. She had saved for months, piecing together her dress from thrift stores, altering it by hand under dim lamplight while her mom slept. She didn't expect to be crowned queen. She didn't expect to dance under the spotlight. She just wanted, for once, to feel like she wasn't on the outside looking in. But Cassandra had other plans. The cruel laughter, the whispers, the way her perfect lips curled into a smile as she orchestrated a joke at Emily's expense. One moment Emily was standing on the dance floor, clutching her clutch nervously, and the next, an entire bucket of soda and glitter poured over her head from the balcony above. The crowd roared with laughter. Phones flashed, and Cassandra stood at the center, smirking, her designer dress untouched, her crown practically glowing. Emily ran, out of the gymnasium, down the cracked concrete steps, her thrifted heels snapping, her face burning with humiliation. She disappeared into the night, leaving behind laughter that echoed long after the music stopped. The next morning, she was gone, her bed untouched, her sketches scattered on her desk, the half-finished prom dress she had been working on folded neatly in her drawer. Missing. First, the town shrugged. Just another runaway, they said. A girl who couldn't handle it. But then whispers spread. People started talking about the way Cassandra's father's car had been seen near the diner that night. The way Cassandra's hands shook when anyone mentioned Emily's name. The way guilt seemed to haunt the halls of the school, thick like smoke. Weeks passed. The police searched, the community speculated, but Emily was nowhere. And Cassandra? She smiled for the cameras, gave interviews about how tragic it all was. But behind closed doors, something was shifting. Her perfect world wasn't as perfect anymore. Her friends noticed she barely slept, her grades slipped, and her once flawless mask began to crack. And then, it happened. One ordinary morning, a letter appeared, slipped under the Hayes front door, sealed in plain white, with only 2 words scrawled across the front in Emily's familiar handwriting. I remember. Cassandra's face went pale when she opened it. Inside was a photograph, grainy, but clear enough. Cassandra standing over Emily on prom night, holding the bucket. The moment before the humiliation. The moment she thought no one had captured. But someone had. Someone was watching. The days that followed were like a slow unraveling. More letters appeared. In Cassandra's locker. In her car. Even under her pillow as she slept. Each one with photos, sketches, drawings, moments Cassandra wanted buried. Emily was gone. But her presence was everywhere. Was it guilt? Was it paranoia? Or was Emily alive, watching, waiting? Cassandra tried to confess to her friends, but they laughed it off. She tried to tell her father, but he silenced her. No one can ever know, he warned, his reputation more important than the truth. But the truth has a way of clawing its way to the surface. And then the power shift came. At the town's annual charity gala, under the glittering lights where Cassandra's family reigned supreme, the projector screen flickered. At first, it showed the usual slideshow, donations, smiling faces, community pride. Then, without warning, it shifted. And there she was, Emily, not in person but on video. Her voice soft, trembling, but undeniable. You laughed that night. You all did. But I want you to see what it cost me. The video showed Cassandra's cruel prank in full detail, played out for the entire town to see. Gasps filled the room. Cassandra froze, her father's face draining of color. And then, the screen cut to black, replaced by words that silenced the crowd completely. "I'm not gone. I'm just waiting." The town erupted in whispers. Cassandra fled the room, and from that night on, nothing was the same. Cassandra was no longer the untouchable queen. She was the girl who had driven someone to disappear. The girl whose cruel laughter now haunted her more than it hurt anyone else. Emily, the underdog no one believed in, had flipped the story. She was no longer invisible. She was everywhere. But the real twist? The very next morning, another letter appeared on Cassandra's pillow. This one wasn't just a photo. It was an address, a place on the outskirts of town. And written beneath it, in Emily's handwriting, was a single chilling line. "If you want the truth, come alone." Cassandra clutched the paper, her hands trembling. She didn't know if it was a trap, if it was guilt eating her alive, or if Emily was truly out there, waiting to face her. But one thing was certain: this wasn't over. Not even close. Because Emily Carter had vanished after prom night. But her story was only just beginning. And what Cassandra would find at that address would change everything. She hadn't meant to come alone. She had thought about telling her friends, about dragging them out here just to prove it was all fake. A cruel joke made in Emily's name. But Cassandra knew they wouldn't come. They had already started pulling away from her, whispering behind her back, their loyalty vanishing the moment the video played at the gala. She had no one left. No one but Emily, or at least the shadow of her that haunted every step. The farmhouse loomed in the twilight, broken and skeletal against the horizon. Cassandra's car sat crooked at the end of the dirt drive, her headlights carving two sharp beams into the dust before she killed the engine. The silence that followed was unbearable, pressing against her like a weight. She could still feel the letter in her trembling hand, Emily's words etched into her mind. "If you want the truth, come alone." Her heels crunched over the gravel, each step echoing louder than the last. She pushed open the warped door, the hinges shrieking like they hadn't moved in years. Inside smelled of mildew and something older, something forgotten. The air clung to her lungs. That's when she saw them. Papers everywhere, taped to the walls, scattered across the floorboards, fluttering like fallen leaves in the draft. Cassandra's stomach twisted. They were sketches. Dozens, no, hundreds of them. She bent down, picking one up with shaking fingers. It was a face. Her own. Eyes cold. Lips curved in a cruel smile she recognized instantly from the prom night video. She dropped it like it burned her. Everywhere she turned, there were more drawings. The faces of her friends, her classmates, even teachers. All of them captured in sharp, merciless detail. But Emily wasn't painting them as they were. She was painting them as Cassandra had always feared they might be. Twisted, sneering, monstrous. A gallery of guilt. And at the center of it all, pinned to the far wall, was Emily herself. Not the quiet girl with soft eyes and thrift store clothes, but something sharper, stronger. A version of Emily Cassandra had never seen before. And beneath it, the words that made Cassandra's knees buckle. "Do you see me now?" Her voice cracked when she whispered into the darkness. "Emily?" The silence seemed to answer back. Then, faintly, footsteps upstairs. Cassandra froze, her heart slamming against her ribs. "Emily?" She tried again, louder this time, her throat tight. She crept toward the staircase. Every board groaned under her weight, each step dragging her deeper into the suffocating quiet. The footsteps were always just ahead, never close enough, never far enough. At the top of the stairs, a single door stood ajar. A flicker of candlelight leaked through the crack. She pushed it open with shaking hands. The room inside was empty, except for a small television on the floor, its screen buzzing with static. The candle beside it sputtered, casting shadows that seemed to stretch across the walls like reaching hands. Cassandra stepped closer. The static cleared, and then Emily appeared. Her face filled the screen, pale and hollow, but her eyes were burning. Cassandra's breath caught. Emily spoke directly into the camera, her voice low and steady. If you've made it this far, Cassandra, then you're ready. Ready to know what really happened that night. Cassandra sank to her knees, tears burning her eyes. Emily, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Emily's voice cut through her. You thought it was a prank. You thought it was laughter. But you didn't see what happened after I left. You didn't see who followed me. The footage shifted. Cassandra expected to see Emily running from the school, tears streaking her face, her thrift store dress ruined by soda and glitter. But the camera didn't show Emily. Instead, it showed headlights. A car creeping down the same road she had taken that night. Car she knew. Her father's car. Cassandra's body went cold. Emily's recorded voice continued. You weren't the only one who hurt me. You just made it easier for him to do the rest. The screen went black. White letters bled across the darkness. He knows what he did. Cassandra staggered backward, her body trembling. Her father? No, couldn't be. He had told her to stay quiet, to protect the family name. He had said no one could ever know. But what if that wasn't about her prank? What if it was something darker? A noise snapped her back. Behind her, the floorboards creaked. She spun, heart hammering. A figure stood in the doorway, cloaked in shadow, the candlelight framing them in a sickly glow. Who's there? Cassandra whispered, her voice splintering. The figure stepped forward, and for a moment, Cassandra thought she saw Emily's face. But then the candle went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Her scream caught in her throat. The television flickered back on. The camera shifted, showing not Emily, not the car, but Cassandra herself, standing in that very room. Her pale face frozen in terror, her hands clutching the letter. Filmed from somewhere inside the house. Her breath came in short, sharp gasps. No, no! The screen glitched. Static. And then, Emily's voice once more, softer this time, almost tender. You're not the only one with secrets, Cassandra. And soon, they'll all come out. The screen cut to black again. But in the silence that followed, Cassandra heard something else. From outside, the crunch of tires on gravel. Another car pulling up to the farmhouse. She ran to the window, heart pounding, and saw the unmistakable shape of her father's black sedan rolling slowly up the drive. Her throat tightened. Why was he here? Did he know she came? Or had Emily brought him here too? The front door creaked open downstairs. Footsteps, heavier than before, echoed through the farmhouse. Cassandra backed into the corner, her pulse screaming in her ears. And then her father's voice, sharp and low, rose from below. Cassandra? I told you never to come here. Her body went rigid. He knew this place. He had been here before. The footsteps climbed the stairs, deliberate and slow. Cassandra's back pressed against the wall, her eyes darting to the flickering television. Then to the door, then back again. And just as the doorknob turned, the television screen lit one final time. Emily's face appeared, her lips curling into something between a smile and a warning. Now you'll know the truth. The door burst open. The door burst open and Cassandra's scream died in her throat as her father filled the frame, towering and grim, more shadow than man. Before she could speak, another voice cut through the air. Emily's. Cassandra's breath faltered as she saw her. Alive, pale, fragile. Her faded blue dress torn but her hazel eyes burning with fire. Emily faced Richard Hayes without fear. You followed me that night, she said. You didn't take me home. You took me to the quarry. Cassandra's world tilted as the words dug into her chest like knives. Her father snarled, denying it, but his mask was already cracking. Emily stepped forward, her voice sharp and steady. You were the monster that night, not her. You! Cassandra staggered, her mind flashing to every time her father silenced her questions. Every warning to never speak of that night. The truth clawed its way free, undeniable. He roared, insisting no one would believe them, claiming he owned the whole town. But then the television flickered back to life. Footage appeared. His car at the quarry, his hand gripping Emily's arm, his face twisted in the headlights. The silence that followed was deafening. Cassandra sank to her knees, tears burning her eyes. The man she once admired stood exposed as a predator. Emily's voice layered over the footage. Justice doesn't die in silence. It waits. Cassandra rose to her feet, trembling but resolute. She looked at Emily and whispered, "I'm sorry. I can't undo what I did, but I can stand with you now." Emily's gaze softened, her strength unmistakable. For the first time, the underdog and the untouchable queen stood side by side, united by truth. When the police arrived hours later, called by an anonymous tip, they found the farmhouse filled with sketches, tapes, and evidence Emily had been gathering for years. Richard Hayes was dragged away in handcuffs, his empire shattered. The town was never the same. Cassandra was never the same. The girl who once hid behind her sketchbook was no longer invisible. Emily had transformed from victim into voice, from shadow into justice itself. As the town watched Richard Hayes taken away, Cassandra whispered the words that once mocked Emily, "Do you see her now?" And this time, the answer was yes. The crowd did. Everyone did. For a brief moment, it seemed the nightmare was over. But cruelty leaves scars that truth alone cannot erase. The next morning, Cassandra found another envelope slipped under her door. Inside was a Polaroid, not of her father, not of Emily, but of herself, taken the night before as she stood by her bedroom window. On the back, scrawled in familiar handwriting, were the chilling words, "This isn't over. Conclusion and life lesson. No matter how deeply lies are buried, truth has a way of clawing to the surface. Cruelty may wound, but justice waits patiently, striking when no one expects it."